Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
One injury, one player out. And just like that, more than half of the WNBA's fans stopped watching. Yes, seriously. When Caitlin Clark left the game with an injury, the entire league felt it. TV ratings dropped. Ticket prices dropped. Jersey sales slowed down. Stadiums that were packed before, now half empty. And it wasn't just a small drop. It was a disaster. A well-known sports reporter, Christine Brennan, said it best. One player gets injured, and more than half the TV audience disappears.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there, that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour, or whatever the circuit is that they play on, than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
Let that sink in. One rookie gets hurt, and the whole league starts falling apart. Even Tiger Woods didn't hit golf this hard when he stopped playing. LeBron didn't hit the NBA like this. Serena didn't do this to tennis. No athlete has ever had this much impact on a sport, not like this. But here we are. The WNBA built everything around Caitlin Clark, and now they're watching it all crumble without her. And what's worse, this didn't have to happen. So what went wrong? Why did the league put so much weight on one player's shoulders? And what happens now? This is the story of how one young woman changed an entire league, and how the WNBA failed to protect the one person keeping them alive.
Jump to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen.
To really get it, we need to go back to the beginning, when Caitlin Clark took the WNBA by storm. Before Caitlin Clark even played a single WNBA game, people already knew her name. She was a star in college, breaking records, hitting deep three-pointers, and drawing millions of viewers every time she stepped on the court. By the time she joined the Indiana Fever, things were already changing. Tickets sold out in minutes. People lined up wearing her jersey. Kids, parents, fans who had never watched a WNBA game before. When she played, the energy was different. It felt like something big was happening. And it was. Clark's first few games in the WNBA shattered every expectation. The Fever, a team that hadn't gotten much attention in years, were suddenly in the spotlight. They went from playing in half-empty arenas to selling out crowds of over 17,000 people.
Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA has successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Cameras followed her every move. ESPN, ABC, and every sports network you can think of gave the WNBA more airtime than ever before. But it wasn't just hype. Clark was delivering on the court. She averaged over 19 points and 8 assists per game, making her one of the best rookies the league had ever seen. She wasn't just scoring. She was changing the way people viewed women's basketball.
Went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%.
Her impact wasn't just on the scoreboard. It was in the numbers behind the scenes. TV ratings doubled. Social media engagement exploded. Sponsors started showing up with big money. And the league noticed. One report said over 26% of the WNBA's economic activity, from tickets to jerseys to ad dollars, was connected to Caitlin Clark. That's more than a quarter of the whole league, powered by one player. No one in WNBA history had ever done that, not even close. It was clear. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a great player, she was the engine of the entire league. But when one person carries that much weight, things can go wrong fast. And that's exactly what happened. Everything seemed perfect until May 24th. That's the day Caitlin Clark sat out her first WNBA game. The reason? A left quad injury. It didn't sound too serious at first. Maybe she'd miss a game or two. Nothing major, right? Wrong. The moment she was off the court, everything started falling apart. The Indiana Fever played 5 games without her. But this time, fans didn't just miss her, they left. National TV ratings dropped by more than 55%. Let that number sink in. That's not just Clark's games. That's the entire league. Games that had been drawing nearly 2 million viewers were now barely hitting 800,000. The Fever's ratings? Cut in half. The energy in the arenas? Gone. The excitement online? Silent. And it wasn't just TV numbers. Ticket prices dropped overnight. Before Clark's injury, fans were paying over $850 just to be in the building. After the injury, some seats were going for as low as $250. One game dropped from $1,370 on average, down to just $80. Why? Because fans weren't there for the teams. They were there for her. Even road games in other cities were being moved to bigger arenas to fit the Clark crowd. But without her, thousands of empty seats. People started to realize something. The WNBA had built everything on Caitlin Clark. And when she wasn't playing, the league didn't just lose a star. It lost its identity. It was a warning sign. A big one. But instead of fixing the problem, the league ignored it. And then it happened again. Just when things started looking up again, it happened again. Caitlin Clark returned after her quad injury and immediately picked up where she left off, filling seats, breaking records, and boosting ratings. But it didn't last long. In mid-July, she went down again. This time, it was a groin injury. And just like before, the WNBA felt the hit almost instantly. She missed more games, and with each one, the numbers dropped. Again, TV ratings down. Ticket prices down. The energy? Gone. Even the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game, which should have been the league's big moment, felt off. Yes, it still pulled in over 2.1 million viewers, which sounds good. But last year, with Clark on the court, that number was even higher. This year was supposed to be bigger than ever. Instead, it was a reminder of who was missing. Without Caitlin, fans didn't care as much. The casual viewers, the new ones she brought in, weren't watching anymore. And the diehard fans? They were frustrated. Not just because she was injured, but because the league didn't seem to learn from the first time. Even though Caitlin was the biggest reason people were watching, the WNBA didn't take extra steps to protect her. And now, history was repeating itself. And the scary part? It was only July. There were still months left in the season. But the most important player in the league was on the bench again, with no clear date for when she'd return. But the damage wasn't just on the court. It was in the bank accounts. The moment Caitlin Clark went out, the money started disappearing. Ticket prices crashed. TV ads pulled back. Merch sales slowed down. Let's look at the numbers. Before her injury, you'd have to spend hundreds of dollars just to get into a Fever game. Some courtside seats were going for over $1,000. Why? Because people didn't want to miss the chance to see Caitlin Clark in person. But when she got hurt, those prices dropped fast. Some seats that cost $860 were suddenly down to $250. In some games, tickets went from over $1,300 to just $80. That's a 94% drop. Think about that. From superstar prices to near empty arena levels. And it didn't stop there. Road games, where other teams moved their matches to bigger arenas to handle the Clark crowds, were now struggling to fill even half the seats. One of the most hyped games of the season, a Fever vs. Chicago Sky rematch, saw ticket prices crash from $210 to just $95. With Clark, it drew 2.25 million viewers. Without her, it was just another game nobody talked about. Even sportsbooks noticed a shift. According to reports, 39% fewer bets were placed on Fever games when Clark wasn't playing. The money involved, called the handle, dropped by over 30%. That might not seem like a big deal, but to league investors and advertisers, it's a huge red flag. Behind closed doors, sponsors started to worry. Companies had invested millions into the WNBA this year because of Caitlin Clark. With her gone, they're now asking, was this a smart move? Will fans even care if she's not around next season? Some reports even say brands are already rethinking their 2025 deals. And remember, this is all happening just 2 months into her rookie season. 2 months. That's all it took for her to become the financial backbone of an entire league. But instead of doing everything to protect her, the league seemed to do nothing. And the fans noticed. By now, Fans weren't just upset that Caitlin Clark was injured. They were furious about why she was getting hurt, because it wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't just the wear and tear of the season. People started noticing a pattern, and it wasn't good. Clark was getting hit. A lot. Hard fouls, shoves, hip checks, elbows, and many of them looked more like someone trying to send a message than just playing defense. Let's look at the facts. In 2024, the WNBA gave out 30 flagrant fouls. 5 of them, were against Caitlin Clark. That's 1/6 of all flagrant fouls in the entire league. One player taking that much punishment? That's not normal. That's a target. And it wasn't just random. The Chicago Sky alone were responsible for 4 of those flagrant fouls on Clark. First, there was the hip check from Chindy Carter, caught on camera. No ball in sight, and upgraded to a flagrant, one after the game. Then came Marina Mabrey, hitting Clark again in a move fans called dirty. That one got upgraded to a flagrant too. Each time, the league's response was the same. Slow, soft, and too late. And that's what made people angry. Not just that Clark was getting hit, but that no one was protecting her. Sports analysts, former players, even NBA stars started speaking out. Stephen A. Smith said what many were thinking. Why are they letting this happen? Coaches like Gino Orima and WNBA legends like Rebecca Lobo said the same thing. If the league wanted to grow, they had to protect their stars. And fans, they weren't just upset, they were leaving. Some even started boycotting the WNBA entirely. They didn't want to watch other games. Not because they didn't love basketball, but because they didn't trust the league to take care of the one player who got them watching in the first place. The worst part, Caitlin never complained. She took every hit, got up, kept playing, and stayed humble. She praised her teammates. She deflected praise. She didn't want special treatment. She just wanted to play basketball. But the truth is, the WNBA didn't just fail to protect Clark. They failed to protect themselves. Because when the person carrying your league gets hurt over and over again, that's not just a risk. That's a disaster waiting to happen. And it's already happening. The timing of Caitlin Clark's injuries couldn't be worse. Why? Because at the end of the season, the WNBA has a huge decision to make. A brand new collective bargaining agreement, or CBA. This agreement affects everything. Player salaries, revenue sharing, media deals, team spending, league growth. And with Clark's popularity, the players hoped this would be the year they finally got paid what they're worth. But now, that's all at risk. Why? Because when you take Clark out of the lineup, the numbers crash. TV ratings fall. Ticket sales drop. Interest fades. So what do you think the league's owners are going to say in the next negotiation? They're going to point at the exact numbers we've already seen. Look what happens if Caitlin gets hurt. We can't invest more in salaries if everything depends on one player. What if she gets injured long term? What happens to the money then? And just like that, the pressure falls back onto the players, even though it was the league's own failure to protect their biggest star that created this situation in the first place. Some reports say the early CBA talks have already turned tense. There's even whispers of a possible lockout if things don't go well. That means a strike, a season delay, players without pay. And who would lose the most? Every single player who was hoping Clark's stardom would help lift the entire league. The veterans, the rookies, the rising stars, all of them. It's a domino effect, and the first piece has already fallen. Caitlin Clark made the league bigger. Now, without her, we're seeing how fragile that success really is. And here's the scary part. This might only be the beginning. Here's the question no one wants to ask, but everyone has to. Is Caitlin Clark being rushed back too fast? Because when a player goes from a quad injury to a groin injury just weeks later, that's a red flag. Now she's missed nearly a third of her rookie season, and the league is starting to panic. Should she come back before she's ready? No. Should the fever hold her out longer to heal properly? Yes, even if it means missing more games, even the All-Star game. Because the risk isn't just another bump or bruise. The risk is a career-changing injury. The kind that takes years to come back from, if ever. If that happens, the league won't just lose its biggest star. It could lose its entire momentum. The WNBA is standing at a crossroads. One path leads to real growth, long-term success, and a stronger league for every player. The other leads back to where it was before Caitlin Clark showed up. Small crowds, low ratings, and limited attention. Right now, it feels like they're choosing the wrong path. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring fans to the WNBA. She brought in millions. People who had never watched women's basketball before were suddenly tuning in, buying jerseys, filling arenas, telling their friends. She carried the league into the spotlight. And what did she get in return? Hard fouls, no protection, cheap shots from opponents, and silence from the league. Let's be honest, this whole situation could have been prevented. The WNBA had the chance to set the standard, protect your stars, build smart, grow strong. Instead, they gambled. They let things get out of hand. And now they're paying the price. Millions of dollars lost, fans walking away, and a league that's watching its best chance at success sit on the bench with an injury. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about the future of the league. Because if Caitlin Clark goes down for good, if she ends up sidelined long-term, what happens next? Do fans still show up? Do sponsors still pay? Do players still trust the system? Right now, those answers don't look good. And the saddest part? This never had to happen. Clark didn't ask for the spotlight. She earned it. She respected it. And she tried to use it to help everyone in the league rise with her. But instead of protecting the player who built a bridge to a bigger audience, the WNBA watched her get knocked down again and again and did nothing. So now we're all left with the same question. Will the league finally protect the player who saved them? Or will they keep making the same mistakes until she's gone? And so is the spotlight? Right now, the smart money isn't on change. And that's the most heartbreaking part of all.